Hello and welcome everyone, it's Capcan and today we are looking at our Frost Death Knight talent tree from upcoming Dragonflight expansion, which is currently in beta state and is gonna be released in late November, which is already kinda close and very cool. So yeah, let's check the talents. I don't know why they were like leveled up, because I've just transferred this, I copied this character into PTR realm. So yeah, let's go. We're starting with Frost Strike, 25 runic power, melee range, chill your weapon with icy power and quickly strike the enemy, dealing frost damage. So that's our basic runic power spender. Then we have Obliterate, replaces Rune Strike, 2 runes, melee range, a brutal attack that deals 1500 physical damage. You haven't added this there, yeah. So Obliterate, which is kinda basic as well. Then we have Howling Blast, our AoE damage ability baseline. 1 rune, blast the target with a frigid wind, dealing frost damage to that foe and reduce damage to all other enemies within 10 yards, inflicting all targets with frost fever, which is dot damage passive. Killing Machine, that goes after Obliterate. So yeah, like probably it's gonna be very well divided into different paths. So Killing Machine, your auto attacks, critical strikes have a chance to make your next Obliterate critically strike, which is just procs for additional damage for your Obliterate. Unleash Frenzy, damaging an enemy with a runic power ability increases your strength by 2% for 6 seconds, stacks up to 3 times. Damaging an enemy with a runic power ability increases, oh, so yeah, that's our additional, oh, it's quite quieter here. So yeah, we're stacking strength with our runic power like spenders, which is quite good. Improved Frost Strike, increases Frost Strike damage by 10%. So increased damage for our spender again. Here we have Rime. Obliterate has a 45% chance to cause your next Howling Blast to consume no runes and deal 225 additional damage, which was previously the case. Yeah, so like, yeah, when you're generating your runic power and spending your runes, you can have a procced Howling Blast, which is gonna deal pretty good damage and is gonna be your just like AoE damage filler and stuff. Yeah, and then we're going into this part. Then we're gonna look at center, and as you can see, it's very divided right from the like start of the talents, and then you can't really go very hard into. So you can't really go up to the level of these talents, and then just decide to go into wrong direction. Improved Obliterate, increases Obliterate damage by 10%, which is quite good. Frigid Executioner, Obliterate deals 15% increased damage and has a 15% chance to refund 2 runes, which means that you will have more uptime and more runic power. Rage of the Frozen Champion, Obliterate has a 15% increased chance to trigger Rime and Howling Blast. Generates 8 to trigger Rime, and Howling Blast generates 8 in runic power while Rime is active. Okay. Then we have Cold Heart. Every 2 seconds gain a stack of Cold Heart, causing your next Chains of Ice to deal 300 frost damage, stacks up to 20 times. Yeah, that was previously one of our talents. So your non-damaging ability, or like, yeah, your ability that you're using in order to reduce movement speed of targets from time to time becomes quite like enraged and deals quite good damage. Then we have Frost Reaper, Killing Machine, and it's very good for PvP as well. Probably. Frost Reaper, Killing Machine also causes your next Obliterate to deal frost damage. Okay. Murderous Efficiency. Consuming the Killing Machine effect has a 50% chance to grant you 1 rune, so more resource generation means more damage. Or Inorexable Assault. Gain Inorexable Assault every 8 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. Obliterate consumes a stack to deal an additional 572 frost damage. So this talent was before, if I'm not mistaken, it was in like two-handed oriented builds of the Frosted Decays. Okay, let's go with probably now with center. Glacial Advance is one of the dead end talents. Summon glacial spikes from the ground that advance forward, each dealing 1000 frost damage and applying razor eyes to enemies near their eruption point. 30 runic power. Yeah, so like this AoE glacials. Then Pillar of Frost, instant 1 minute cooldown. The power of frost increases your strength by 25% for 12 seconds. Each rune spent while active increases your strength by an additional 2%, which is just massive deep damage cooldown. It's one of your main cooldowns and you probably won't really like ignore it. Then we have Enduring Strength. When Pillar of Frost expires, your strength is increased by 10% for 6 seconds. Okay, so for 10 and then for 20 seconds for 6 seconds. This effect lasts 2 seconds longer for each Obliterate and Frost Scythe critical strike during Pillar of Frost, which means that your crit strikes are prolonging pretty good buff for your strength. Or Frostwhelp's Aid. Pillar of Frost summons a Frostwhelp who breathes on all enemies within 40 yards in front of you for 561 frost damage. Each unique enemy hit by Frostwhelp's Aid grants you 4% mastery for 15 seconds up to 20%, and then it goes for 4% for 8% mastery up to 40%, which is like quite massive. Ice Cap. Your Frost Strike and Obliterate critical strikes reduce the remaining cooldown of Pillar of Frost by 2 seconds. Oh, so this central part of the tree is very, very hard on your crit strikes. Alright, then at our right part of the tree we have Runic Command, increases your maximum runic power by 10 and then by 20%. Then we have Frost Scythe as a dead end ability, which is kinda interesting. Okay, 1 rune, instant, a sweeping attack that strikes all enemies in front of you for 460 frost damage. This attack benefits from killing machines. Critical strikes with Frost Scythe deal 4 times normal damage, deals reduced damage beyond 5 targets. So yeah, that's our like AoE rune power, just runes spender, and when it procs, if it still procs and with killing machine, it's gonna be pretty good. I don't know, like with like where are you going with all this remorseless winter. So yeah, this looks way like a single target oriented. Here we have more AoE, yeah, like quite a lot of AoE. Remorseless Winter, drain the warmth of life from all nearby enemies within 8 yards, dealing frost damage over 8 seconds and reducing their movement speed, 20 seconds cooldown, 1 rune cost. Our essential AoE cooldown from before as well. Improved Rhyme, increases Howling Blast damage done by an additional 75%, which is quite massive. Horn of Winter, blow the Horn of Winter, gaining 2 runes and generating 25 runic power, 45 seconds cooldown, pretty good additional DPS cooldown resource generator. Biting Cold, Remorseless Winter is increased, damage is increased by 30%. The first time Remorseless Winter deals damage to 3 different enemies, you gain Rhyme. So again, as you can see, like very obvious choices for different situations, very obvious choices. Chill Strike, 40 runic power, 45 seconds cooldown, deal 2000 frost damage to the target and reduces their movement speed by 70% for 4 seconds. Chill Strike bounces up to 9 times between closest targets within 6 yards, which was quite like powerful in PvP, in Shadowlands at least. Then we have either Piercing Chill, enemies suffer 10% increased damage from Chill Strike each time they are struck by it, or Enduring Chill. Chill Strike's bounce range is increased by 2 yards, and each time Chill Strike bounces, it has a 20% chance to increase the maximum number of bounces by 1. Oh, and it can like even prolong itself. So yeah, this like ability, 45 seconds cooldown is quite good. I don't know what's the numbers are gonna be on it. Yeah, it's like, but yeah, the tree itself, like here you have crit strike increases and just the powerful cooldowns. Here you have single target, here you have AoE. Empower rune weapon. Empower your rune weapon, gaining 50% haste and generating 1 rune and 5 runic power instantly and every 5 seconds for 20 seconds. If you already know Empower rune weapon, instead gain 1 additional charge of Empower rune weapon. And as you can see, we can get our Empower rune weapon in our baseline talent tree. Yeah, so then we're going into what? Gathering Storm. Each rune spent during Remorseless Winter increases its damage by 10% and extends its duration by 0.5 seconds. Duration is 8 seconds, cooldown is 20 seconds. You can have very good uptime on that stuff. Alright, let's go in more here. Oh, so here's our ultimate talent. So from our AoE part of the tree, we have Everfrost. Remorseless Winter deals 4% increased damage to enemies it hits, stacking up to 10 times. So even more damage on Remorseless Winter, holy sh... Icebreaker. When empowered by Rime, Howling Blast deals 30% increased damage to your primary target. Oh. It's not bad. But like, yeah, for your AoE you want like AoE damage. It's just an additional damage. Maybe it's like for your Rime procs when you're dealing, yeah, it's gonna help you probably quite a bit with if you're going in this part of the tree and you're heading in your Mythic Plus and you're having like one boss or one single powerful like trash mob. Yeah, your damage with Howling Blast, if you've increased your damage with Howling Blast with all these talents, it's probably gonna be like pretty bonkers on the single target with all the procs as well, and that's for you to have like more balanced single target if you're going into AoE part of the tree. Invigorate and Freeze. Invigorate and Freeze. Frost Fever critical strikes increase the chance to grant runic power by an additional 5 and then 10%. So yeah, crit strikes are all over the talent tree, not only in center, which means that yeah, you're probably going hard on your crit strikes. And Breath of Sindragosa as our final talent, 16 runic power per second, 2 minutes cooldown, instant, continuously deal 1600 frost damage every 1 second to enemies in a cone in front of you until your runic power is exhausted. Deals reduced damage to secondary targets, generates 2 runes at the start and end. So yeah, Breath of Sindragosa, like previously one of the skills that you've used, so you had either Breath of Sindragosa or like obliteration builds and stuff like that, and it's probably gonna be like that in new iteration of our talent tree as well. Oh, okay. Then what we have in center, after our cooldowns increases, uptimes and stuff like that for our Pillar of Frost and others. Shattering Blade. When Frost Strike damages an enemy with 5 stacks of Razor Eyes, it will consume them to deal an additional 100% damage. Okay. Then some more like single target stuff. Avalanche. Casting Howling Blast with Rime active causes jagged icicles to fall on enemies nearby your target, applying Razor Ice and dealing 600 damage. So additional procs on AoE if you're like going into your right direction. Frostwyrm's Fury. Summons a Frostwyrm who breathes on enemies within 40 yards in front of you, dealing massive amounts of frost damage and slowing movement speed by 50% for 10 seconds, 3 minutes cooldown. Like before, Frostwyrm plus your Chill Strike was very, very powerful in 2v2 arenas, especially when you have like 2 targets that it will bounce from one to another. Then you have your Frostwyrm as very big burst. And yeah, like there was, I don't know about all seasons, I don't know about like latest seasons, but in the start of expansion, it like Frost Decay's damage was pretty bonkers, and they had very, very big burst Windowses. And then we have our Absolute Zero. Frostwyrm's Fury has a 50% reduced cooldown and freezes all enemies hit for 3 seconds. Okay. So 50%. Oh man, like 1.5 minutes cooldown. So every 90 seconds, which means, oh, it's so good in terms of uptime increase. But I don't really know if you're gonna take it instead of Syndragosa Breath or like Obliteration in different situation. But yeah, for burst purposes, for burst windowses, they're gonna be like very, very, they're gonna be much more of those burst windowses with your kit, with these talents in your kit, I mean. Yeah, let's go in here, in there, and take some talents here. 4, 5, no. Okay, if we go to our left part, what's the latest talents? Might of the Frozen Wastes. Wielding a two-handed weapon increases obliterate damage by 30 and your auto attacks, critical strikes always grant killing machine. So yeah, that's still your two-handed path. Bone Grinder. Consuming killing machine grants 1% critical strike chance for 10 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. At 5 stacks, your next killing machine consumes the stacks and grants you 10% increased frost damage for 10 seconds. Okay, so yeah, you're like stacking crit strikes with consuming kill machines, and then your and at 5 stacks you're getting just additional frost damage, which is and 20% even. Ooh, quite good. Cold-Blooded Rage. Frost Strike has a 10% chance on critical strikes to grant killing machine. As you can see, like, yeah, it's very heavily into single target. Obliteration. While Pillar of Frost is active, Frost Strike and Howling Blast always grant killing machine and have a 30% chance to regenerate a rune. Alright, yeah. So, the talent tree of Frost the Death Knights is quite obvious. It doesn't add as much new stuff at all, which is kind of sad. You get some new stuff. It's like you have different paths. You have like ways to obtain more burst damage, ways to obtain more sustained damage, AoE damage, single target damage, to be reliable more on cooldowns and whatnot. But it's definitely not as groundbreaking as it could have been on other specializations, other classes and stuff. Maybe because the Frost Death Knights already had like most of the things that you want to have, and you're already was quite a complete like specialization that needed only to like restructure its talents a little bit. To give players a bit of choice of staking different stuff. Yeah, but a little bit. Well, I guess that's kind of like okay with the main talent tree being as like you can take a bunch of stuff, a bunch of new stuff in your main talent tree, in your class talent tree, and to combine it with Frost's already quite packed kit, it can be pretty good. It's definitely very heavily your critical strikes are gonna be very important for you. So yeah, like mixed reactions from me. It doesn't seem bad. Though it doesn't seem too awesome as well. So, okay, we're gonna look at how it's gonna end up in the expansion itself. Is it gonna be good? Is it gonna be bad? Is it gonna be fun or unfun? But probably it's not gonna be unfun, because the subclass by itself is quite good. It's quite interesting to play, even though it's very procy. It's not as complicated, as convoluted with different mechanics and stuff. It's still quite enjoyable and very like fast-paced stuff. So yeah, and you still have your choice between two-handeds and duals, which was like one of the greatest things that we've got in Shadowlands. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you're having a good day. Subscribe to the channel if you like, if you're so graceful, and like, thanks. Have a good day again. Goodbye.